Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Power Gym podcast. Today, we're going to have I guess it's a new year here. It's like first week or two of the new year.
Happy 2026, guys.
Yes. It's going to be a big year this year. We're excited for you're here. Thanks for watching our podcast. As always, please, we appreciate if you can help us grow. Hit that like button, subscribe, all that good stuff we ask you about. Really appreciate it. But today, we want to talk about something you guys should be doing because we think it's awesome. And the tides have changed. Diesel racing is back in style. We're really excited about this.
So NHRDA was sold, and the new owners of that are heavily involved with UCC, and it looks like from pictures, maybe even ODSS. And so what this means to the layman is diesel drag racing is probably at some point in the near future going to have a nationwide organization that's all the same rules, which means it's going to grow as a sport, and you need to get into it.
Back in the day, maybe early 2000s, I would guess. It was like the fastest growing organization in all of motorsports. It wasn't the biggest, the fastest growing percentage wise was NHRDA. And it was huge. There's crowds, there was people. I mean, I went to a show in Whitman, Arizona that was just gigantic turnout. I mean, diesel racing was like the up and coming thing. And then fuel prices went crazy. Nobody could afford to go to a race.
2008 housing crunch hit, really slowed things down.
Yeah, just a bunch of crap happened. And NHRDA actually went MIA for a year or two. They just stopped promoting races.
During the COVID years, they really slowed down for a bit there.
Yeah, and on the East Coast, they still had the ODSS, which was put on races and growing. And they have a pretty good organization out there. A lot of people, a lot of racers that do real well there. But NHRDA, I'm very excited about. I appreciate everything that was built before, but sometimes it's nice to get new ownership in place.
What does NHRDA stand for, Meyer?
Meyer. So there's the National Hot Rod Association. Well, the DA is the Diesel Hot Rod Association.
So National Hot Rod Diesel Association.
Yep.
There's been a few before them. Like they had the DHRA, Diesel Hot Rod Association. Well, it's not even another
They
one.
had NADM, the National Association of Diesel Motorsports.
Yeah, see, I don't know any of that.
It's all old school stuff. I mean, there was enough excitement back in the day where there's multiple organizations competing for diesel racers to come. It was huge.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, huge relative. For diesel guys, it was huge compared to what it is today. It was huge. And so personally, I'm very, very excited for the new ownership of NHRDA. Got a couple of people who have partnered up who are very into motorsports a lot.
Trying to grow the sport, grow the racers, grow the businesses that sponsor, grow the sponsors, grow everything.
They want to expose new people. Like if you're in the stands, like how can you get a taste of this? They want to really grow. Any motorsports is dependent upon participants and new participants because people come, people go. That's just life. So we are hoping there'll be a bunch of new participants in 2026, 2027 and beyond. And with that goal and desire of ours, we want to help you. If you've thought, I want to maybe do this, how do I do it? How do I take my diesel truck drag racing? How do I get into this sport? We're going to help you out today. Everything you need to know, where to go, what to do, how to race. So this is not a scary thing because truly we want you there and everybody there because we want the sport to grow, not die. We want to race our trucks and we want to help you race your trucks for sure.
We want to race our trucks and we want to have someone to race against.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So to start off, I'm going to offend all of you 17 and 18-year-olds. Underglow lights do not make your truck faster.
Oh my gosh.
Oh no.
But if you're beyond that stage of life, when you're beyond looks and you're looking for performance, racing is, it's so fun. And so we, like Todd said, we just want to figure out, so let's say you're 25, 30 years old, however old you could be. You could be 65 and retired and just want to pick up a new hobby.
Yeah.
But how do you start racing diesel motorsports?
The biggest thing people are probably having in their mind is I got to have this ridiculously fast, powerful truck to go diesel racing. And you do not. You can take whatever you want racing. So I would actually encourage people to not take a super fast truck to start. Learn the sport first. And you learn that the place I learned it, Will learned it. He may have skipped it because he kind of came in when we were kind of tutoring him pretty fast. But that's the sportsman class. There are different classes in NHRDA. Does ODSS have the same class?
They do have a sportsman class.
So sportsman's class is it's the entry level and it's a lot of fun. You could think, oh, I don't want to go waste my time on a slow truck. I want a really fast truck. I would advise against that. You can have a lot of fun in just a nice hot rodded truck. I'm talking a tune. Something has a little bit of power, more than even stock could be fun. But I mean, if you have just a tune, a 400 horsepower truck, you can go have a load of fun. I think my first truck was probably in the 400 horsepower range when I started racing. And it was maybe 500. It was a blast. It was super fun. What about you?
I mean, the first diesel truck I ran down a drag strip was made $499, but but yeah, still 400. It wasn't quite 500, and it was a lot of fun.
You were hooked.
Oh, it hooked me instantly.
Yeah.
Like to where I broke my truck racing it so much and couldn't get to work, and realized I needed 2 trucks, one to race and one to drive to work.
Yeah. If you're going to race a truck, I mean, there are people who will race their work trucks, lots of them in the sportsman class. You totally can. You can have a very good race truck that's reliable, but if you're going to start pushing faster and faster, that's when things happen. But I do want to start with the sportsman class. How do you even go race? Like step one, okay, Will Terry's 35 years old. I got a truck, 500 horsepower. I think it'd be fun. I want to go racing. What do you do?
So first step, obviously you need a diesel powered vehicle. It can be a car. You can race your BMW, whatever car, SUV, your Volkswagen Touareg or your Volkswagen TDI. It just has to be diesel powered is the only rule. And if you really get on the ragged edge, it has to be 50% diesel powered. So, you know, there's another 50% there that can be hybrid or something else. It's kind of up for your interpretation on how far you want to push the envelope if you get into the, you know, a class where you need to find every edge you can. But diesel powered vehicle, after that in the sportsman class, there's no penalty for being the slowest or advantage for being the fastest vehicle, really. It's about consistency. But basically, to get in that class, you need a running vehicle. It doesn't have to be street legal. Most vehicles are in that class because they drive them to the track.
Yeah.
But you basically need a street legal vehicle. You need a driver's license. They do want to make sure you have a driver's license if you're there racing. So you need a street legal vehicle, a driver's license, and
battery hold downs.
A battery hold down they check for inspection, and they don't like leaks. Leaky vehicles can't go on the track. So you have a bunch of oil leaking off your vehicle.
Not a good race.
Not a good race vehicle. If you clean it up so that it's not actively leaking and it doesn't actively drip on the track, that's a bonus. If it's really oily under the hood, they're going to go over it with a magnifying glass and be like, all right, well, not every track, but some of them will. But really, no leaks and a battery hold down, a seatbelt. You need a seatbelt that works. And if you go faster than 14 seconds, which is basically, you got to get beyond a tune on most vehicles. You got to have some work done to go quicker than 14 seconds.
Yeah.
You need a helmet. I mean, you can have a dirt bike helmet. It can be open face.
Yeah, it doesn't just a helmet.
They want to make sure it was made in the last 10 years. They have a couple rules on the website on how old the helmet. So you can't have your helmet from the 70s, but that's it.
So he went over a lot of things that actually you need to know about. He says they're going to go over your oily engine. What does that mean? They're going to go over your oily engine. So let's start step one. Step one is you got to figure out when the race is. So, I mean, for what we're talking about is NHRDA. If you're in the East Coast, that's ODSS. They have websites. They have dates. They have locations. Find out when you're going. The first one for NHRDA is February or something like that.
Yeah, like February 28th,
so
27th, 28th.
So February 27th. Last, nice. February 27th, 28th. That's perfect. So last bit of February, there's a race in Arizona, Phoenix, for NHRDA. So when you get there, you're gonna go to the.
This is Chandler, Arizona, where this race is. We'll just say it's in Chandler. It's basically in Phoenix, greater Phoenix metro area.
So when you
a racetrack called Wild Horse Pass.
Yeah, you're probably gonna MapQuest your way there, or Google Maps or whatever it is. I think MapQuest is kind of old now.
Yeah,
it kind
really
of
dates us.
Sorry, man, my bad. Google Map yourself there.
You're gonna ask Siri. Say, "Hey Siri, take me to the racetrack."
So there's gonna be like a spectator gate and a competitor gate. And hopefully there's information. So you're looking for where the competitors are going. If you get there early, you'll see a bunch of them probably parked at the entrance with their trailers, and you pay for your entry to the event. Very simple. Get a wristband. I mean, anywhere you go, it's very simple. Then you're going to
be $20 to probably $30 depending on the event, but that's about what it costs to get in and park there.
Yeah, and then you're going to kind of follow people around to the pits, or let's call it. And when you're in the pits, they're going to help you say, okay, you're going to go park in this area, and you have a certain amount of square footage, like a little. Sometimes they're marked out pretty well. This is the area you get to park your vehicle. If you have a trailer, park your trailer and your tools, and you work on your truck there. You change tires if you're changing tires. This is the pit area, like.
There's usually a couple hundred of them, and they might be marked pit number 35 or 143. And they'll usually direct you like you're saying. And usually the pro or the faster classes are closer to the starting line. And usually the sportsmen, because there's way more competitors, they're kind of scattered with all the rest of the area. But if you get there early, there's plenty of places to park. If you get there kind of late, you might have to drive around a little bit to find an open pit spot to park in. Depends on how big the event is.
Absolutely. So you're going to get there, find your spot, get set up. they're going to hang out, and there's probably going to be some like schedule of events, or you might hear it over. A lot of times they have like loudspeakers or a radio station you can tune into. They'll have that information in the gate. They're going to say the tech lanes are open. Go get your car teched. So kind of go through the tech inspection. Meyer loves tech inspection. He's had a lot of luck.
First, how do you even get signed up for your class?
Didn't you do the gate? You
So,
did the gate, right?
so that just got you in the gate. That does not get you racing.
Oh yeah.
So then at an NHRDA event, same
Right.
with ODSS,
Yes.
they have a trailer that's marked NHRDA inside there. It looks like a booth to sell shirts.
Usually it's by the stands.
Usually, because they're the event organizer, so it's usually front and center, right up there, easy location. They have some merch they're selling there. You go say, hey, I want to race. They say, what class? You're going to say sportsman class. They will then sell you a tech card. Tech card is usually about $50, could be a little over $100 in the more pro classes, but the entry level ones usually $50, $60, $75. Varies, goes up a little bit every year. But you buy this tech card, and all that really is your race entry, and then it's a little card that they're going to go over and they check safety stuff on your vehicle.
Usually they want you to be a member of the organization also. So when you go get your first tech card, they'll say, what's your membership number? I don't have one. Okay, we're going to sign you up, and you'll probably pay a membership fee.
It's another about $50 for the whole year.
They're trying to keep the organization going. They got to make a few bucks here and there, and this is the way they do it. Little things here and there. So you're going to become an NHRDA member. You have a number. That number is going to go in your car forever. Mine's the same number I've always had for years and years and years.
And the lower your number, the more OG or old school you are.
Yeah.
So my number is a little bit lower than Todd's, and Myers is like double mine because he's like a rookie in this sport.
Way lower than mine.
Yeah,
I'm 8,000 something.
I'm 5. You're 4.
I'm 4302.
So he was a year before me. I got the next year. That's right.
Anyway, it doesn't matter, but you're going to have a number. They're going to write that on your card. That number is basically tied into your name forever.
Yes.
Yeah, it's basically like your driver's license number. Like, is your number associated with you? Yeah.
And you could get it permanently put on your race
card there. Yeah.
Yeah, you get a little card. They'll give you a temporary one, and they'll mail you one, your little membership card. So you get a nice little card that says you're a member of NHRDA. They usually give you a little sticker packet and some stickers you can put on the car that they want, like for the title sponsors, so that if you show up in photos, there's a few stickers that they can see.
They'll probably ask you about contingency. Very possible. Like, what the heck is contingency? Do you want to sign up for contingency? Will is the king of getting contingency. So tell me about contingency, because that's when you sign up for right there.
So really quick, contingency becomes more of a factor as you start winning.
So first of all, it's completely optional. If it's too much, don't worry
Don't
about it.
worry about it.
However, if
but
you
contingency, let's say, for example, let's say Power Driven was a contingency sponsor. There would be a Power Driven sticker in there. And if you put that on the truck and you get first, second, third, or fourth place, depends on how it's set up, as a racer, if you fill out the little contingency paperwork, if you get any of those places, Power Driven is going to send you a check in the mail and say, congratulations on winning in Arizona. Here's your $50 or $100 or whatever. Usually there's 4, who knows, with the new organization, could be many more contingency sponsors. But essentially it's a sponsor that sponsors the event, and then they give money back to racers that win.
If you've got the Power Driven sticker.
If you got the sticker, because then it's like us as a sponsor, our sticker goes down the track, ends up in videos and footage. And 2, you as a guy, as you're winning, it's almost like a reward for winning above and beyond any purse money. It's very common in gas racing. There might be 50 contingency sponsors. Some companies require you to have product. Some just require sticker. So for example, ARP, they say, hey, we'll pay you if you have our sticker on there, but we'll pay you double if you have proof of an ARP product you've bought in the last couple of years. And you just have to send in a copy of your receipt. PPE is another one. They usually say, hey, we won't pay you for a sticker unless you have proof of product on there.
Mm-hmm. Or there's like South Bend, where you have that sticker on the junker and you have an auto.
I've never had a South Bend clutch, but they sponsored because they knew there were a lot of tow trucks with clutches.
Yep.
And everyone, as a racer, we were grateful that South Bend sponsored back when they did,
Mm-hmm.
But so that's contingency stickers. It's not a big deal for your start. You don't even need to worry about it, because
they'll
your chances,
ask you about it there when you get your tech card, and you can say yes or no.
if you say yes, you get free stickers. So
Yay.
Yeah.
and then you go back to your area. You go back to your car now. Now you have this little tech card. It wants you to fill out your name, your address. That's what the announcer uses. If you're winning, they're going to be like, oh, it's Meyer Stump from Cedar City, Utah. And he's driving a 95 Dodge Ram with a 6.7 Cummins. And you can kind of put some cool information. You could put the bare minimum of your name and where you're from.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all they care on but that's on the tech card that you're going to turn in a minute. So you fill out the tech card a little bit. It's just got a little bit of like address information. And then on the back, it has all the safety information for your vehicle. Well, you don't have on your entry level, you don't have any special safety stuff. So all it's going to have is a little thing for a helmet. It's going to have a little box you can check to say it's a 2015 or newer Snell helmet.
Which you may not even need on a speed, depending on the speed of your car.
And yeah. that's going to be it.
So they're once you fill the tech card out, they'll say, okay, the staging lanes are open for tech. You'll hear that somehow, either over the speakers or the radio or something. And you're going to drive up to the backside of the drag strip somehow. Usually it's in staging lanes. It's going to be probably near you'll probably see the staging lanes when you go get your tech card, because they usually have this tech booth pretty near the staging lanes.
And the staging lanes at Arizona, for example, there's 8 lanes and they're numbered 1 through 8. They hook around the tower, which is where they can announce out of, to the front of the track. And they're kind of on the end of the pits, not connected. They call the staging lanes because that's where the race cars go to line up to get ready to race. It's not normally a place where anybody else hangs out.
Nope.
It's not a pit area. It is to stage cars to get ready to go racing.
And if you're like trying to find tech and you don't know where it is, like everyone is trying to find tech.
Yeah.
Everyone's happy to tell you, yes, I found tech. It's over there. Just go past that, whatever. He's right there. Like, it's a very common question. If you're having confusion, ask.
Yeah, you shouldn't be worried about asking questions. I mean, most people there are pretty good. We've all been through it before. We understand the anxiety you might be feeling your first time to the track, because it is a bit nervous. We get that.
Once you think everybody's a professional.
Then they're not.
No.
We're all amateurs. We're out there having fun. We know we want to have fun. So
none of us make a living racing, all right? Nope. It is not that important. It's all for fun.
Yeah, and usually everywhere I've ever gone, the group of guys have been very, very cool, very helpful. We help people. People help us. It's a very fun community to be part of, honestly. So I say, you just kind of get your feet wet, do a little bit of research, and then you should be fine. But yeah, like Meyer says, ask where tech is if you can't find it or you don't see it. People will help you out. And the tech for sportsmen is going to be very, very simple. Like Will said, you don't really have anything. They're going to check for oil leaks.
Yeah, you show up, they're going to check for oil leaks.
Are they going to check for catch cans too? I think so. They want
radiator overflow. Yes, they will check usually.
Sorry. Yes,
not always, but they should check that. So it's just kind of like
as far as the truck goes, no leaks, battery hold down, and some kind of a puke
overflow bottle for the radiator.
For the radiator. Yep.
You also need to bring a clean truck. Don't be bringing something off the farm and dirt and stuff. They don't want dirt down the track, and so you've got to have a clean vehicle. They're not going to let you run on the track, because I mean, you're one of many classes going down, and they get a very multi-thousand horsepower car behind you. They can be running over dirt and stuff. So
yeah, because it'll be dangerous for people.
And we're not talking like go in there and pressure wash the inside of your frame rails out before every race. But if you just got out of a mud bog, you probably should do your due diligence and try to clean the truck a bit first with a power washer. But if this is your street truck that you drive, maybe you drive it over a gravel road every once in a while, just do a quick visual. Again, all they're caring about is there's no dirt falling down. If you do a couple test hits or something on the street and there's no dirt where you left, you're probably fine.
Wait, so you have a clean truck, you go up in the tech lanes, they're going to check for a couple things there, just to make sure it's there. I've had them at not NHRDA events, but like at professional tracks, I've had them check your tires and make sure you're not past the wear bars and weird stuff like that. They don't like missing lug nuts. That's a big no-no to a lot of them. But I'm not going to say they're going to check that, but they can if they choose to. Usually NHRDA's goal is to let you race as long as it's going to be safe. Sometimes you go to like Las Vegas Motor Speedway and their goal is, oh, you dumb redneck with a diesel truck, how can I get you to not be able to race here?
Yeah.
So there's kind of like different agendas there, whether or not they hate trucks or not. NHRDA loves trucks. They want you to come out.
Yeah, if you go to a diesel race, you're not going to get hassled. If you go to a non-race, I've had people roll their eyes at me or coughing like, oh my gosh, I can't breathe. I'm like, dude, you're right next to the burnout pit. You can't handle a little bit of diesel fumes. Come on, man. So some people, it's less than it has been. I'd say it's less than it used to be. People understand diesels are fast now, but yeah, if you go to a non-diesel specific race, you may get a little bit of grief, but good to learn at a diesel specific event, like he said, because we're all diesel guys there. The track, NHRDA rented the track. They want you to come. You're not going to get grief. They're just helping hands.
So then the tech inspector is going to look over your little card, realize your sportsman class very low. He's going to put SM on your window if you haven't already with your own little window. And usually as a new guy, you don't have the little fancy window chalk, although they sell that at the NHRDA trailer. But, he's going to put SM and then, which stands for sportsman, he's going to put your number, your NHRDA number. That's how the whole race organization knows who you are, what times are associated with you. They can assign points to you. When they pair you up with people, that's basically their little coordinate is that little number on the side there.
Yep.
And then it's as simple as that. He's going to look at a couple things and say, you're good to go. Or if there's something they want you to fix, they're going to say, hey, go back and fix this. And if it's minor, they might not even make you come back. If it's major, they're like, hey, go fix this and come back through tech again.
Yeah.
And I mean, and it's as basic as that. If you decide to run slicks, they're going to look a little bit more like racing tires. They're going to want to make sure there's a drive shaft loop on the rear drive shaft. So if it's your first time and you're very, very rookie, probably don't bring slicks unless you spend a little time just making sure that you have a drive shaft loop and a couple other little dumb things like that. But it's very easy. You're going to go back, your truck's teched, you're done. That's all you got to do.
Now, you're literally waiting for a call up to the lanes. And so everybody's going to get tech to do different classes, sportsman, pro street, super street. I guess that's the same thing now. No, super street, 590, 670.
Mm-hmm.
There's a bunch of different classes. And they'll usually assign you a lane. In tech inspection, they're going to say, okay, sportsman's is in lane 1 and 2. So when you're back there in getting tech, you'll see, okay, like he said, in Phoenix, there's 8 lanes and they're numbered. So you can say, okay, when they pull me up to the staging lanes, I'm going to go in lanes 1 or 2 because they'll pull up multiple classes at the same time. Okay, sportsman, you're in 1 and 2. We need pro street come in 3 and 4 they stagger them because they want to have race trucks going down the track all the time. They don't want big gaps between, racing on the track. I mean, oil downs are one thing, but the goal is to have race cars there ready to go all the time.
So a quick recap of this thing. You paid, you came in the gate, you parked, you walked up to the trailer, you bought your tech card, you then drove your truck over to the tech inspection lane in the staging lanes. You got tech inspected, you went back and waited. Then they're going to have a driver's meeting that you come up to, and they're going to say, hey, there's a driver's meeting at 10 o'clock. At 10 o'clock in the morning, you go up there. They kind of give you the rules of the race.
Trailer, the
to the NHRDA trailer. And then they say, hey, track's going to go live. Let's say it's at 10. They say, track's going to go live at 10:30. We're going to start qualifying. And usually sportsman is the first class to qualify. So then after the driver's meeting, you go back, you get your truck. And in the driver's meeting, they're going to tell you sportsman is lanes 1 and 2 or lanes 7 and 8. Usually it's 1 and 2 from what I remember. So lanes 1 and 2, you're going to go back, get in your truck. You're going to get your helmet on. You're going to make sure your oil's full or whatever. You're ready to race.
Your air conditioner's not turned on because that'll drip water and that'll get in trouble.
Yeah, so you don't want your air conditioner
keep your AC turned off. Roll your windows down.
And you're going to drive up and you're going to park in the staging lanes in lane 1 or 2 in any random order. And once they start going, it's as simple as that. It's going to be just you in the truck. There's no passenger allowed. You have to be in your vehicle. Don't leave it running in the staging lanes. They'll tell you that in the driver's meeting. It's instant disqualification.
You can leave it running, just don't get out.
Don't get out when it's running. It's like a NHRA rule. You can be running, but don't. And a lot of people don't want to warm up their vehicle, so they don't try to leave it idling the whole time. A lot of sportsman guys will sit there idle with their AC to like flex on the faster class guys and be like, haha. But then they got to turn off the AC before they get up there because if they drip water, they won't let them go.
Yeah.
But anyways, you go up there and now it's sportsman qualifying. And who wants to go through the whole staging procedure and tree?
So you're pulling up to this thing, and the first thing you might notice is there's a guy with a hose. Now, are you 2-wheel drive or 4-wheel drive, and are you doing a burnout? Sportsman, if you're a truck, you're most likely 4-wheel drive, and you probably want to drive around the water box. So you're going to say, no, I'm going to go around the water box. And you'll see people, try not to be if it's your first time, don't be the first guy to the lanes. Be a mid-pack or later so you can watch what people are doing. You'll see some people will drive up, stop. The guy will do hose. He'll get the concrete wet. The guy will drive up, do a burnout, and then he'll go forward. Other guys will just drive clear around the water. So just if you're 4-wheel drive, thinking I'm going to drive around the water. And once you're there, then you're going to go drive up towards a tree. You're not going to drive up. The guy's going to call you up. First, you're going to be kind of waiting. You'll see this. If you're in the lanes, you'll see, okay, the guy at the tree or the starting line, he's going to call the next people up. Okay, come on, start your car, let's go. People will go. And he'll stop them usually right before the water box or around the water box. And the guys in front of them at the starting line will actually go. At that point, they'll go to the starting line and he'll pull the next group of people up to the water box and stop you there. So just kind of watch how that flow goes. It won't take you long to figure it out, but you'll see the flow just by how people are moving. I'm going to assume you're 4-wheel drive trucks. We're going to go around the water box. I know this is where Meyer becomes a professional. What do you do next, Meyer?
I don't know. Leave on red. You go around the water box and then there's these, and you can see like little cutouts in the in the concrete where the lasers are, and there's 2 sets of lasers. That's where your front tire needs to be. So while you're a ways back, you kind of want to visualize that and be like, okay, when that first beam gets broke, that's your first light. Actually, well, why don't you take care of this? They're way better at this.
So after you go around the burnout box and it's your time to stage, they'll wave you up and you come to the front. And like Meyer described, there are 2 laser lights up there. One is the pre-stage and one is the stage beam. There's a Christmas tree, they call it, in the middle that has 2 pairs of yellow lights at the top. And then it's got some more yellow lights that count down and then green at the bottom to let you know when it's time to go. When you pull up, and you can be in either the left or the right lane, when you pull up and you cross that first light, the very top 2 lights will light up on your side of the tree only.
And it's basically like a garage door thing that hits the laser. I mean, that's
it's
really what it
just
is.
like the garage door opener laser. Yeah.
If you cross the garage door goes back up. It's that same sense. Your tire gets in the way of that beam, and then it lights up that top light bulb. Go ahead.
And I'm just not to cut you off because I just barely gave it to you, but when people are in front of you and you are like watching what they're doing, watch that light, kind of watch what they're doing. They're probably doing it pretty close to right, and you can see them bumping forward, light the one beam, bump forward again, but light both, and you can kind of see what the lights are supposed to look like on and off, because that's the one thing that messed me up at Vegas. They have a way more modern tree to where it's really funky, and it threw me off at first. And so yeah, if you look at if you watch the tree with what other people are doing, it'll make a little more sense to what it's supposed to look like for you. But yeah, continue. Sorry.
So normally they'll talk about this in the driver's meeting, but normally they encourage courtesy staging. What that means is if you are the first one to turn on any lights, you only turn on the top lasers. You only roll in that first couple inches till it turns on. You wait till the other guy turns on one or both of his lights, however, and then you roll in the rest of the way. Once you roll in the rest of the way, now you have 4 lights on your side, and that guy has 4 lights. The moment all of you have 4 lights on anywhere from 1 to 7 seconds later, the tree will automatically drop. It'll turn on these yellow lights right below in half-second increments. It'll go flash, 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 green. As a sportsman, you kind of use that to time to be like, all right, I don't want to leave on the first yellow or the second yellow because I'll go too soon. But usually on the third yellow is about when you try to let off and start giving it some throttle if you're trying to get a good reaction time. Your first time at the track, you're probably not going to get a good reaction time. You're going to wait till green, and you're going to sit there for half a second on a green light before you roll. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't affect your elapsed time or your time that you got. All it affects is your reaction time. Anyway, the light turns green. You floor it. You go down the track. Now racing is not quarter mile. It's only 1/8 mile. So at the middle of the track.
Sportsman's a quarter, isn't it?
Still eighth mile. They've slowed it all down.
They did go 8th mile. They used to do.
The only one's quarter mile is
Semi-trucks.
bracket semi.
Oh, bummer.
Actually, hot rod semi is quarter mile too. Both the
It's too
semi
bad they don't let
classes.
the sportsman go. I mean, they should anyway.
Anyway,
on the-
so it's 1/8 mile, so it's half the track distance. Where the scoreboards are is usually the quarter mile mark, so you don't need to stay floored all the way past the scoreboards.
Mhm. Yeah,
But
once again, you can see like the cutouts in the concrete where the lasers are. So once you around half track, you'll see those and be like, okay, yep, that's the end of the 8th mile.
And then you roll off the throttle, you get on the brakes a little bit. You don't have to get too hard because in a sportsman truck, you might only be going, 85 miles an hour or something. You're not going to be just ripping. It'd be just like you floored it on the highway on ramp and you got up to highway speed and you let off. It's not crazy radical. Depends how fast your vehicle is. And then you go towards the end of the track, and in Arizona, the turnoffs are to the left. There's an opening halfway, so you don't have to go the whole shutdown because there's about a mile of shutdown space almost after the 8th mile before the very end of the track to slow down for fast vehicles. Because you got to remember, normally in quarter mile racing, you would race for a quarter mile, you might be going 200 plus miles an hour. You need some space to slow down. So usually they give you another, almost 3/4 of a mile to slow down after the quarter mile. Anyway, so about halfway down, there's an opening. You can turn out short or you can drive clear to the end of the track and turn down.
Yep.
The only other weird rule is if you're in the left lane, you kind of have the right of way. If it's a left turn, the guy in the right lane should wait. You're supposed to yield. Like if you cause an accident in your right lane, you're the dummy. So just be, watching. It's not a big deal. It's just you and one other driver. It's not complicated, but just like normal driving, don't turn in front of somebody or you're being stupid,
Mhm.
And you come back. And about 3/4 of the way back, there's a little ticket shack that looks like a little weigh station, a little bit bigger than outhouse.
Mhm.
That's the time shack. And in there'll be a young man or young woman in there working for minimum wage. And they give you this printed time slip and go, here's your time slip. On the time slip, it'll show the times from both you and your competitor. you got to look at the top and see the one that has your competitor number. And if you're in the left lane, it should be on the left lane. And if you're in the right lane, it should be in the right lane. And it tells you. And the very first time at the top, it'll tell you your reaction time. That's how long you sat at a green light before you rolled far enough to get out of the lasers. So reaction time is something you work on that. And then as you look down at the bottom, it's going to say your elapsed time, your ET. That's how quick you went. Hopefully it's somewhere in that, 8, 9, 10 second range. And then it'll say mile per hour. And that's the mile per hour you averaged right at the very end of the track.
Now, this is a very important piece of information for sportsmen guys, because there's no time other than what you decide to put on your truck. They usually give you 2 rounds of qualifying. So that's round 1, go back to the pits. After that first round, you go back to the pits, you have your ticket, you're in the pits, and other classes are going. So they run all the classes at one time. So after you go, they're going to run the Pro Street, 590, 670, 760, whatever, all the different ones
all
they
these
have.
faster classes, semi-classes,
Semi
all kinds of
bracket.
stuff.
So you're going to have quite a bit of time before your next round of qualifying. So you're going to go back, look at your time, think what you did good, what you did bad. Is my reaction time good or bad?
Probably pop the hood, let the engine cool off,
Yep.
look for any leaks or any problems so you don't cause yourself. But really in a sportsman truck that you street drive, it shouldn't really have any issues. It should be
pretty simple.
very capable, not really that hard on it.
And so you're looking at your time slip. Let's say you got an 8. Let's say it's 8.0, just for easy. 8.0, that's your first time. Okay, that's interesting. Everybody does their thing. They say, okay, now it's time for round 2 of qualifying. Sportsman's the lanes 1 and 2. And they're going to call you up. So you're going to go again, same exact thing you did before. You're going to repeat, no change. And you're going to go up there. You're going to go around you're going to call you up, go around the water box, or do you burn out? Your choice.
Put it in 4-wheel drive. If it's 4-wheel drive, you'll probably forget it at least once.
Oh yeah.
Before you remember that you need 4-wheel drive. If it's a fast truck,
So
anything faster than stock probably needs 4-wheel drive, to be honest.
Yep. So you're going to go do your next round, get off the track, go to the ticket booth or the little time booth, get your slip, and then you're going to compare. This is vital information for you going forward in sportsman. Because let's say your first one was at 8.0, your second one was at 8.125. So, okay, that's very important. So now you're pretty consistent. That's actually pretty good. Now in sportsman, you get to decide what your time should be. Drag racing,
like a bracket race or a handicap you get.
Yes. This is actually probably the most competitive class because of this rule. I don't know if it's the most, but it's a great class because of this rule. So this puts driver versus driver, not car versus car. So I could go in there. Let's say I had a pretty fast one. I ran a 7.0 and a 7.2. So I'm like a full second faster than you. Okay. So I'm the guy pitted next to you. I'm going to put 7.0 on my window. Because when you go for the first round of racing, you get to choose your speed. So let's say you put 8.0 on your window. Okay. So now we have both chosen the speed we can run. Now, if we are paired up in the first round, you are going to get a 1 second head start over me. Because I said I can go in 7 seconds and you say it takes you 8 seconds. Well, then we're both going to go, but you get a 1 second head start. The cool thing about drag racing is it's the first guy to the end wins, as long as his pass is legal. Now in sportsman, your pass is legal as long as you, 1, don't red light, and 2, don't go quicker than the time you put on your window. So when you pull up, they're going to say, okay, here's your number from your tech card, your number 5353, and your time is 8.0. So they're going to put that in the computer.
And the scoreboard will say your time that you wrote on the window right on the scoreboard.
And you see, okay, I see the 8.0, that's my time, and my neighbor's a 7.0. So you can kind of see, okay, I'm going to have a 1 second head start here. And you're going to go. And if the world is perfect, and we both have a perfect reaction time and run our exact number, we will tie. It never happens, but that's the perfect world. So the real confusion happens is when I run a 7.2, you run an 8.0, and I beat you. How is that possible? How could I be off of my dial more than you are, but I still win? And that's in the pits. I've had this happen to new people all the time. How did I lose? I ran closer to my number than he did. Will, how did you lose and I win?
And the difference all happens in the starting line. The timer does not start till you leave the laser beam. So if Todd runs a 7.2, so he's 0.2 off of his dial-in time, but he left at 0.001 seconds when it's green, like perfect light almost. And I left at 0.5 seconds after the green light. My total time it took me to get down to the end was 8.0 plus the 0.5. And Todd would have passed the finish line first.
Yep.
It's really whoever crosses the finish line first that wins, not who's closest to their time.
Yep. Drag racing is who crosses the line first. with a legal pass. And so the game really is won or lost at the tree. Once you start getting consistent, especially in sportsmen, because those cars are pretty consistent. They're not doing crazy burnouts down the track. They're not all over the track squirrely with all kinds of power. They're pretty straight. They're pretty good.
They're not losing power because it's hot in the afternoon so much that they change a lot. They're very consistent. And so you have to be, it's all one as reaction time at the start.
Yes.
And if it's a really, really, really close race and both of you had a really good reaction time, maybe you feel like the other guy is going too quick. You know, he might be low under his dial and you might have to hit the brakes and let him go. Or that guy might think you're too quick and hit the brakes and you're like, no, I'm not too fast. And you stay floored. And those are games you get further along. As an entry level, you don't need to worry about that. All you got to do is try to leave as quick on green as possible, which means you need to leave before the green light turns on because your truck doesn't instantly move. And that's why it has this awesome light that goes yellow, 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 green. And they're half-second increments. So you can like almost time it.
Yes. And so in sportsmen, the reaction times are generally very, very good in sportsmen because you do have that like timing mechanism, the half-second increments. You can kind of anticipate the green light. It's coming in the interval, where on the pro classes, it's not. The pro classes will not have a good reaction time because they don't have that interval to lead them up to it. I want to talk quickly about staging your truck. There's lots of times where we'll be at a race and we'll see somebody who's 5 feet before the first yellow bulbs. They're on the brakes and
this is before the laser beam that turns on the yellow bulbs.
Yeah, so they're 5 feet away and they're on the brakes and they're boosting it. So that means they're giving it brakes, they're giving a lot of fuel to get on the turbos. So they kind of they're scared about leaving before the turbo is lit or ready to go, right? So they're going to be there and they just creep and creep and creep. And we're back here just like cringing. Oh, dude, let off. You're going to burn that transmission up because they're on this boost, 30 pounds of boost, just sitting there, going a little bit closer.
For 10, 20 seconds in a row.
I mean, I've literally seen this happen and where the guy just boiled his transmission right over, like just boiled
Didn't
it.
even get down the track. And he's just like, oh, racing's hard on your stuff. And you're like, you did more damage there getting ready to race than I did racing the whole day times 10, you know?
Yeah. And so in diesel racing, we are turbocharged vehicles. And so you'll see people get up there, they're going to push the brakes, they're going to build up the RPM and the turbo going to come up. And all of a sudden you can hear the turbo scream and the truck sounds awesome. They let off and they leave like a rocket, the boosted launch. It's one of the great things diesels have in the world is a boosted launch. It's awesome.
One of the funnest parts at the track is because you can be rowdy at the starting line and it really throws you back. And that's half the fun is ripping off, especially if you're just in front of the guy next to you. You're just like, ha ha.
Yes.
Like there's something about pulling on them from the start. It's so great. It's so much fun.
But we're going to get there. First, we got to learn how to race before we start running about. So if you're a sportsman, easy, you most likely have a stock-ish size turbo. We're going to say this is a tune truck. You have a truck with a tune, intake and exhaust, maybe an injector, maybe, but basically stock turbo. For you, you're going to slowly creep up to the first bulbs, get the first bulbs lit. You're not even having your left.
But you are in four-wheel drive.
You're in four-wheel drive. Your left foot can be on the brake, should be on the brake, but you're creeping up, not under boost. You're just creeping up to get the first bulb lit. You do not need the amount of time. Guys are scared. I have a big turbo. It takes me forever to spool up this turbo. That's not you. That's higher classes. Don't worry about that. You're just going to creep up and get that first two bulbs lit. So you've crossed the first beam, but not the second. At this point in time, you're going to kind of wait for the next guy. You can kind of see if he starts ready to bump in, you can see he's getting close. You can start building a little boost then, but not before. I would wait until you see him about ready to bump in. Now, if you're the second guy in, let's say the second guy in, your opponent has bumped in the first beams and he's waiting for you, you can still have enough time where you can bump that first beam. But as soon as you cross that beam, you're going to want to start building some boost. If you're going to leave with boost, this is where you would play games with people. But you shouldn't really be worried about that with the stock turbo. You have time.
Yeah.
Because if that guy goes in, like Will said, you have up to at least 7 seconds.
You have 7 seconds as the auto start there.
So people will get freaked out because you bump in the first bulb and that guy's just waiting for you. And as soon as you bump in the first bulb, he's going to bump second bulb. Maybe he's trying to kind of mess with you. Maybe he's not. It's all legal. It's
maybe
part of the
he's
game.
nervous and just trying to race. It doesn't matter what he's doing.
Doesn't.
You have 7 seconds to roll forward that last 6 inches. Otherwise, it's going to time you out and make a red light and say that you basically have a foul. You automatically lose that round. But you have 7 seconds. But in your mind, oh my gosh, I don't have time. You have time. 7 seconds is quite a while.
Plenty of time, especially on a stock turbo. So you're gonna be ready. If he's got the top bulbs lit, you're gonna be ready. So when you get that first bulb's lit, okay, foot on brakes, give some gas, get spooled up, and then creep forward on the brake very slowly.
So left foot on the brake, right foot on the throttle. You have
Yes.
to drive with 2 feet when you're doing this.
Yes, you do. And you can practice this on the streets. You don't
You
have
don't
to,
have to do
this
this at the track. You can practice it anywhere.
yeah, like get some chalk lines or whatever, but you're gonna have some boost and you're gonna creep forward slowly until that next set of bulbs lights up. So now you're ready to go. When both sets are lit up on both sides of the tree, you're ready to go.
And this, like you mentioned it, like practicing, that is a huge part. Like, yes, you don't have a light system, but you can do it in your driveway, put it in 4-wheel drive, get yourself up, maybe 2000 RPM, something like that. And then just practice like keeping it at that RPM and then just modulating the brake, bump forward an inch, another inch, another inch. Once you get that motion down, the staging lights are really easy.
Yes.
And that is a part where I helped a couple people trying to do it their first time. And I didn't even think about like that is a tricky thing to do. It doesn't take much. It's very, very easy. But if it's a new motion that you're trying to learn and everything else is going on, it's a lot. And that's an easy place to mess up. So yeah, just go in your driveway and just play with a little bit of throttle like that, 2000 RPM, whatever it is. And then just bump it. And you can just, and then just go. Like, and it's super easy.
And keep in mind, you don't have to build boost to race in the sportsman class. A lot of people like that because the truck reacts faster when it has boost. When you let off the brakes and floor it, it very quickly covers that first foot to get the timer started. But remember, this light counts down 3 lights in half-second increments. So it goes half second, half second, half second, and so you have plenty of time. I know some very successful racers that race with no boost because they want to be able to sit there for an hour and let the other guy build all the heat in the world and make his truck inconsistent. There's some people that leave with no boost and they like that. But they leave sooner on the yellows because the truck is slower and they just floor it and go that way. You don't have to build boost, but if you're trying to get the quickest elapsed time, that ET, if it's like a game, hey, I ran a 8.0 last race, I want to see if I can get a 7.9 this race. Well, you're going to be playing with leaving with more boost because that's where your truck is going to go quicker elapsed time. But yeah, I wouldn't try to do a nasty 20 plus pound boosted launch. You don't need it. Seriously, 5 pounds is probably plenty on a sportsman truck.
Honestly, it'd be easier to like set yourself an RPM goal. Go out there in a back street somewhere, rev it up like Myers, maybe 2,000 RPM, maybe 1,800 RPM. It doesn't take much. Just get your turbo a little bit lit. Say, my goal is to be at 2,000 RPM. I can hear this, and then I'm going to creep forward because it's going to have to be audible because you're going to be looking at the lights, right? So if you can kind of get used to what 2,000 RPM sounds like, same every time, that's a good way. Or if you want to do boost, like Will says, they're both good ways. They're both very good ways. Just find something that's consistent.
And this is one of the things that's a little difficult on diesel versus gas. And it's not necessarily diesel. It's that diesels are turbocharged. This is the difficulty of racing a turboed vehicle versus non is trying to get a consistent launch. Because remember, if you're doing a boosted launch and the second, let's say your first run, you ran an 8.0, but you left it, let's say 10 pounds of boost. If the second qualifying run, you leave at 15 pounds of boost, it'll probably run a 7.8.
Yeah.
And like, that's not very consistent. You're like, why did it go so much faster? Well, 20 pounds of boost is a lot different than 10. Your starting line is going to be way different. And so you want to be at something consistent. Now, your first race, don't expect to win. Don't go out there thinking you're going to be a hero. Cause there are I have raced a lot. And I think my chances of winning sportsman going out there in the cold, I would expect to get to the semifinals if I'm doing well that day, but I wouldn't expect to win ever. It is a very competitive class.
You got to do
lots of racers. You have to do well so many times, but that's also what's fun because there are total rookies and there are experts all mixed in there. And when you beat an expert, man, it feels so good. But if you see this like female driver, Robin Ridgway, in an old 7.3 Power Stroke, don't line up next to her if you have a choice. She will wax you every time.
I don't know if I've ever seen that lady lose, man. She owns a sportsman class right now.
And she runs 17 seconds, quarter mile. She runs high 10s, 8th mile. I mean, that is like a brand new Duramax Cummins or Ford. All of them stock with no tune are faster than her truck. Yeah. And she wins all the time. But the vehicle's very consistent.
Yes. The sportsman's all about learning the sport, getting consistent. And for a lot of people, it's enough. And it is enough. You're going to have a lot of fun in the sportsman class. I ran that for a couple years, at least a year. or more before I started wanting to go faster. But I did learn the class there. My dial-in times were there. And yeah, I got beat by an old guy. The Shark. What's his name? Jim or something? The old Shark guy. You know,
What is Jim's last name? It's not Ridgway. Was it Jim?
anyway, he'd drive his race truck to the race with a camper shell on. He'd unload the camper shell, pull his
Was it
truck out.
Calhoun? I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, he died, but he
Yeah.
he used to. That was his retirement. Is he?
He'd go out and beat up on all of us young guys in his old truck, dually, and just
But he'd have a camper on there. When he get to the track, he'd unmount the camper and he would sleep at the track and race the rig and go rounds and rounds,
That's
just
great.
destroying. He had a dually, put big
Yep.
big wide slicks on there, and he'd
go win.
awesome.
Yeah, it was great. And so that's you see that a lot, just random weird stuff. But that's what's fun about Sportsman is anybody can race Sportsman. They designed that class so it's your entry level into drag racing. And as you do that, you will quickly learn about the classes above you. The guys in the pits are cool. You walk around, talk to people in the pits. We walk around and look at race trucks. You can walk around and look at our race trucks. We talk to racers. You're going to get so much knowledge just being at the track. Go to the track, go to the pits, walk around. I've seen this truck. I watched this thing, how this thing ran fast. Tell me about it. Guys are happy to talk about trucks.
And
So
maybe
good-
you have a random obscure Duramax with a 10-speed. You're like, how does this guy leave so well? Well, if you see a Duramax or a shop there racing that, you'll be like, yeah, we have this special tune where I hold this one button and it trans brakes, so I don't have to brake boost. I can just floor it and it holds it. And when it turns green, I let go of the button and you're like, oh, that's why that's so consistent. There's going to be so much stuff you learn there of like how to make this obscure. Or if you're racing a TDI, there might be another guy with the TDI there be like, hey, this is what I'm doing to be consistent. As you get more into racing, though, there are faster classes.
Oh, yeah.
The very next one up is.
So I feel like just as also a fellow noob, like let's do a recap.
Okay.
So you go past the water box, you drive slowly, you're watching those beams.
you put it in 4-wheel drive.
Yep. 4-wheel drive. You look at kind of where those beams are. You get yourself close. Now you're looking at that front top light. You're letting it slowly creep. Once that top light's lit, does a little bit of boost. Once that turbo's singing, whatever your 2000 RPM, whatever you practiced, modulate the brake a little bit, get into that second bulb.
So you
Assuming,
creep forward about a foot,
Yep.
It's 6
Assuming
inches or
you're-
so.
which if it's your first time, no one's gonna get mad at you if you accidentally double bulb or you accidentally do something to the guy next to you, and it maybe messes him up a little bit, especially because this is qualifying. It doesn't matter. But once you've got both bulbs lit, you're happy with your RPM, you're gonna watch that tree. One thing nice about qualifying is it does not matter what your reaction time is. It's good to practice, but if you're not ready, you're a little late to the lights, whatever it is, the light turns green and you're sitting there still working on something, don't leave. Wait till you're ready. You got like 10 seconds or something before it finally times out.
Yeah, it might even be like 15 seconds.
Yeah.
You can sit there the whole
Just
long
like
time with
play
the
with
green.
the throttle, do your thing, make sure you're ready. Once you're happy, then just go. Again, wait until your 8th mile, whatever you're racing, let out, go to your ticket booth, and then you get to do those 2 qualifying passes. Same thing. You can just try to be consistent, leave at the same RPM. Obviously, once you get to the actual racing, that is when you'll have to pay attention to the lights a little bit more, make sure
And your reaction time.
your reaction time's a little bit better. But just sit there and play with it. And that is what's great with it. And yeah, the name of the game is to try to have a good reaction time and to be consistent. Sure, you could try to say like, oh wow, it felt great. I'm gonna try leaving at 2300 RPM this time. Changing anything is not consistent. You want to be consistent with what you do, and that's it.
If you have a little bit faster truck than your buddy, it's also fun if you end up racing each other because he gets to go first, and if you still beat him, you're just like, I even give you a head start and still beat you. It's like it's a lot of fun.
It really is.
But it also can make it consistent where, it is fair. You could have a 12-second quarter-mile truck racing an 18-second quarter-mile truck,
You could
and
race
they can
Todd.
be dead even.
The only reason Todd went, like literally anyone could enter that class. 5 seconds, 15 seconds, doesn't matter. Anyone can.
And it's a lot of fun.
Yes, it is fun. I would never race that class because I don't want to be sitting at the tree for 10 seconds waiting for a 15-second truck to
Just
go.
like let him go. And
Yeah.
like, okay, I should probably start spooling.
So there is going to be, as you get faster and faster, you will graduate from that class. So a lot of people only go there, and it is great fun. It is great. There's nothing wrong with being a sportsman forever. It's a wonderful class. Doesn't break trucks near as much.
You can
Super
drive your
fun.
truck to the track. You don't really need a trailer
Yeah.
usually. You don't need race tires. You usually
Yep.
can just drive, have fun.
Yeah, and that's where most people come in, and a lot of people will stay. And then a lot of people like get bitten by the bug of wanting to go fast. Like, okay, if I want to go fast, then I need to start looking at the next higher classes. But it's going to be a very easy, much easier to graduate to the higher classes than it was to start sportsman, because learning sportsman, you learn the sport, you understand the sport. The next classes are just a little bit of a modification of what you already know. It's really not hard to change. Like once you get that foundation down, everything else becomes easy. You're going to learn it by just being at the races, different techniques, different speeds, different things. You're going to how fast you go. You're going to need roll bars, safety equipment. I mean, the biggest difference as you go faster and faster is there's more and more safety equipment needed, both on you and your vehicle.
And the vehicle obviously has to make a lot more power and it takes a lot more parts.
Yeah. Also, another exhilarating thing is like, let's just say you did good at the light, you're out ahead, you're just doing way better than the next guy, and you're like, okay, I'm way ahead now. There's a small chance I'm going too fast where I would break out. But since you're so ahead, you're like, yeah, I'm just going to let off the throttle, maybe touch the brake a little bit. And like winning on the brake, that means you did good.
Yes.
And when you win that race and you had to hit the brakes, it's so great. It's so much fun.
It happens more than you think. Like how could that happen? It's that scenario we talked about. If you take 0.5 of a second to start, like that scenario I gave earlier, I was at 7.2 and you were at 8.0 and I won. How did I win? If my dial was at 7.1 and I went 7.2 or 7.0 and I went 7.2, I was probably coasting through the lights or on the brake of the lights, because if I have a huge lead, there's always a possibility of going too fast. If I go too fast, my run's illegal. I lose, right? I don't want to go faster than my dial of 7.0. So if I'm way out ahead on you because you're way slow getting started, I'm going to be on my brakes going through the lights or coasting to make sure I'm not faster than my dial in time. And so, there's lots of little tips and tricks you'll learn along the way, but there's nothing worse than being way out ahead of somebody and not getting the brakes and losing. Just ask Will.
It's happened to me, and I've also won that way a few times, and I'm just like, wow, that guy's dumb. That guy's an idiot. Thanks for the win, though.
Yeah. Will has won because you were behind and the guy broke out.
I was behind, and I could not get anywhere near the number. I was having issues, and the other guy just
went too fast.
Ran balls to the wall the whole way, and he's like, wow, I got a personal best. And I'm like, good job.
Thanks, man. I'll take the victory.
I'll take the victory and go to the next round. So
I'll fix my junk. So it happens. Everybody's done it, but it just little tips and tricks. Like, if you're way out ahead of somebody, unless you're in a heads up class, which is not limited, which that doesn't even happen till pro mod? Pro street
when you're unlimited, yeah.
So if you're not in pro street, you need to pay attention to not going too fast. Pro street, you can just run what you brung and have fun.
So we're going to talk about the other classes?
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about
that. So the very next class is called the Super Diesel class. It's a 770 index. Back when it was quarter mile, that was an 1190 quarter mile. So to be in this class, you need most guys are in a 4-wheel drive truck or 2-wheel drive with slicks at this point. You're going to have built transmission. I mean, to make 1190 quarter mile or 770, you're probably in that 700 horsepower range as a 4-wheel drive and about 800 horsepower range as a 2-wheel drive, because you just can't quite
leave as hard.
Depends on the weight of the vehicles,
and the vehicle itself.
But still, you got to be a pretty hot street truck to do that. But a lot of guys fall into that class. It's a very popular class. And a lot of people double class, meaning they run the sportsman class and they run this other one. So what they do is they buy 2 tech cards and they race both classes. I used to do that, and it was so fun because you get a lot of racing opportunities, qualifying opportunities at one event. So if it's a 6-8 hour drive, haul out to the event, and takes a long time, maybe you only go to 1 or 2 events a year. Sometimes it's fun to do more than one class if your vehicle is reliable enough to do that, because you get a lot of racing in, and so you really get to scratch that itch. But in the 770 class, it's the exact same thing as sportsman with a couple small changes. One, there's no dial-in time either of you put. The dial-in time is preset at 770.
For both racers.
So it's still one on a reaction time thing. The other difference is they go from a sportsman tree that counts down in these half-second increments to a pro tree. Now, this is what they call a 5/10 pro tree. It's 5/10 in that. 4's in the faster. So 5/10 pro tree means all 3. So after you're staged 2 yellow lights, and then you go in deeper and the next 2 yellow lights and the other thing. So both sides have all the yellow lights. When it goes, all 3 yellow lights before that turn on at the same time. And precisely a half second after they turn on, the green light turns on. And so it's not like a choo, 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 go. It's a choo, go.
Yeah.
And so basically when you see all the yellow lights turn on, you pretty much better start going or you're going to be late.
Yeah.
In that class, racers are generally better and more experienced unless it happens to be their first time at the track. And so reaction time is even more important in that class. And once again, you race down, you go through the end. There's still a ticket booth to pick up your time slip at the end. And it's all the same stuff. You're going to look at your data. And in that case, you're not changing the dial and time on the window. You're trying to figure out how to make your truck run that time. Back when I had the junker drag truck, I would race the next class faster than that, the 670 as well. So I had enough power to run way too fast for 770. So the way I fixed that was the way I staged my truck. I did a little different technique there. Some guys will leave it different boost. Some guys will have a 5-position EFI live switch. If you have like a 06 or 07 truck, you can just put it on tune 3 for 770 and tune 5 for the quicker passes. But it's a lot easier to just race one class, but really it becomes a little bit of a tuner's race on how you can make your vehicle run that time as close as possible without going too fast. And if you have a vehicle that can barely run 770 with a nasty 25-pound boosted launch, that might work in qualifying when the track is cold. But after the track gets warm and there's been a few oil downs and it's greasy, you can't leave that hard. There's no way you're going to be able to run 770 late in the afternoon if you have to do that. So for successful tips there, I'd say try to get a truck that makes a little bit more power than you need so you can turn it down a little bit. And then in the later times, if the track slows down or you have to leave softer, you have the ability to add power down track to make up for this soft starting line. Safety and inspection at that point
is pretty similar. There's no roll bar. You will need a helmet for sure. You're going fast enough. Possibly a race jacket.
If you have an aftermarket turbo, you're supposed to have a race jacket. They're like $120 from Summit.
Yeah, just simple.
It's an SFI 3.2 A1. It just needs to be a single layer jacket, nothing special. Battery hold downs. You need drive shaft loop if you're there.
If you have slicks.
But really it's very minimal there. You're supposed to have a aftermarket flex plate if you have upgraded the flex plate, which most guys will if you have a built transmission.
Yeah, because at that point you're not in a stock trans.
But really it's very basic. No more rules there. I mean, I would be thinking like oil. You probably want an oil catch can. You probably can't have a draft tube going to atmosphere. You're making enough power there that it's going to breathe oil and drip. You should have a catch can for the oil. You don't need to, but you shouldn't be putting oil on the track. But I can't think of anything else that you're really going to get into.
It's not much different. And the next class is it 670, right?
Yeah, 670.
You need a roll bar. 670 is probably from 760 to 670 is probably where that's like where people stop or decide to go pretty far in, because at this point you need a roll bar.
Yeah, so I'm actually looking at the I'm actually looking at the rules now for the 770, and you go on NHRDA's website. There's a little download thing you can do for the rules, and it lists out for every class you do and how fast you plan on going, all the different rules. But just to run over the 770 ones, it kind of tells you all about the tree and stuff. But you need to have a current NHRDA membership. You need an exhaust tip that exits away from the vehicle. You need it up and away from the vehicle. So you can't have like a one that shoots at the crowd. It has to just point up. So you got a full factory exhaust. Just put a little 90 on there, pointing it up.
That's so you're not smoking out the starter and stuff like that. You're not smoking the lights. If you smoke the lights out, it's going to mess up your time. So they need to have the exhaust smoke go upwards away from the laser beams that your tires roll through. Because if it smokes that out, it'll totally affect your time, screw you up big time. So yeah, you want your exhaust to go up, not down or to the side.
Yep.
We didn't also talk about you have to have pants. A lot of people forget about that.
T-shirts
in any of the classes, you have to have pants, t-shirts, and you have to have real shoes.
Yeah.
They tell you, but I have raced in Crocs. You should do it. Auto trans reverse lockout and a neutral safety required on automatic transmissions. So just basically you can't start the truck in gear in case something happens. A liquid overflow, so that's your radiator overflow, is required. Working taillights are required. Drive line loop is required in 770.
770.
Yep, 770.
That's what it says. That's
and
just
then
because
a
most people have slicks.
Snell 2015 or newer helmet, steel valve stems, and all tubeless tires.
If running 770 or quicker, I have
Yep.
gotten bit at Las Vegas Motor Speedway where they wouldn't let me run because I had the regular rubber valve stems on my wheels.
Uh-huh.
And so ever since that, anytime I get wheels mounted that might end up on a racetrack, even if they're like Nitto 420 street tires, I have them put in a steel valve stem.
Mm-hmm.
And you get away with that. They have those little like chrome inserts that cover the rubber that makes it look like they're steel. And usually the tech inspectors are too dumb to know that those are rubber with a steel cover. So that's like the little life hack if you don't want to get a real steel valve stem.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah,
that's just NHRA rules that are spilling over that don't
Yeah.
matter. But
And then lastly, just an aftermarket. If you have an aftermarket turbo, you just need to run a single layer jacket. Like go on Summit, it's like $100, even if that. Just single layer jacket, easy to put on, not a problem. But yeah, it's all right here. If you ever need to, it's just an NHRDA's website. Very straightforward.
Yeah. And then, like I say, the next one going to the 770 classes or the 670 classes where things really, you got to decide, what do I want to do with this truck?
Oh yeah.
Because at this point, you're
this
now
is 10-second quarter mile
This
truck
is-
is
yeah,
what
the-
this is.
yeah, like if you remember Fast and Furious, I want a 10-second car. This is a 10-second car. You're building a 10-second truck here. And so
This is like Ruby, your tow truck
Yes.
is capable.
of
That's the class you would run in. However, you don't have a roll cage, so you couldn't,
Nope,
or roll
I-
bar. You're not
I-
legal to run in that.
yeah, so my truck is my street truck. I don't want to put a roll bar in it. And so my truck can go faster than I could legally go at a track. I've actually been kicked off tracks for going too fast in Ruby. And so
So you would turn the tune down and run 770
yes,
in your 1,500 horsepower mega cab.
it would be great. It's great fun. It would actually be fun. I mean, honestly, when I look back at my racing, the slower classes probably were the most fun because you get the most rounds. The faster you go, the less rounds you're going to race, either from broken parts or less competitors. So when I say I recommend starting on the lower classes, it's true. You're going to get the most experience, the fastest. You're going to get the most times on the track, the most laps. It's by far the best way to learn is in the lower classes. And if you love it and want to graduate to higher classes, you just will. Like you're not going to need. It's just going to happen. And so the 770 class is where, or the 670 class, excuse me, is where you're going to decide, okay, this is now going to be a racing vehicle because you got to start cutting stuff up.
And I think we should talk a little bit about building a 670 vehicle because I think guys that are getting into racing, this would be helpful on them a little bit. Like what would you do starting day one if you're going to build a 670? So this is a high 10-second quarter mile vehicle. You're going to need some sort of a roll bar minimum.
Mhm.
I'd recommend you go right to a roll cage, which is a loop behind you, a loop in front, and goes down the doors. It's basically, there's 8 points touching on there.
Yeah, I'm back and forth on that. The roll bar is much easier, less expensive, and doesn't need to be certified. You just got to have one. So I mean,
Roll cage does not have to be certified either.
it's true.
It's
you
only
don't-
legal to
Yes.
10 flat and a quarter mile
That's
without
true.
a certification.
right.
But with a certification, it's good to 850.
Yeah, and it's true because if you're going to make the jump to 670,
You might go to
probably gonna make the
590 at
jump
some
to
point.
590 at some point. So if you're going to get in there, it's not a bad time to do it all at one time. Less expensive to do it once than to do it twice. So you got to decide if 760, 670, man, I keep saying it, if 670 is as fast as you ever want to go,
Wait, did you say 6'7"?
6'7", what is
It's
Oh my
2026. I'm a year behind that
That's
trend.
right. That's right. That's an old trend. The 670 class is your gateway into going fast, like real fast. The 770 is fast and super fun, but jumping up that another second is like a whole nother experience. And then from the 670 to the 590 is a whole nother light year jump. Like once you start getting these fast classes, the power required, the speed that things happen, it's remarkably faster. It's a totally different experience and incredibly fun. But you got to realize what you're getting yourself into because these are heavy vehicles. Brake, a lot of mechanical breakage is going to happen, and you just got to be willing. This is what I want to do. And
I used to race the 770 and 670 a lot in the junker, and I would go the event, race both classes, drive back on the trailer, never break a thing on it, just have to change the oil. Once I went to 590 in my four-wheel drive truck, I don't know if I made it through more than, let's say, 10% of the race events without having something broken
yeah,
or something that I had to fix. Could be engine, could be transmission, could be turbo piping. Just there's a lot. Now, if you spend a lot of money on a very quality build, 590 is very attainable
oh yeah,
with reliability, but trying to do it on you could say a shoestring budget like I was trying to, it's
Yeah.
tough. 670 and 770, you don't need a crazy budget to run in that class or sportsman, all of
Yeah.
them. They're
Yeah, you can get those. You can get to those levels pretty good. 670 is pretty fast. Like say that's you're gonna start getting into some carnage there. 590 and above, carnage is gonna be the way. Like you're gonna do one qualifying pass if it's good because you don't want to waste another one on your truck. Like okay, I had a good qualifying pass round one. I'm gonna skip round two, go right to eliminations because I don't want to put the wear and tear on my truck because you only get so many passes at these high levels before something major breaks. And so that's why I say it's good to get start low to get the laps in because later you're not going to be putting laps in. You're going to try to not put laps in because you don't want to break your crap. And that's just the way it goes. So, as you go faster and faster, you do less and less racing, but it is highly addictive and it's understandable why we all do that. But I do look back on my earlier years when I was racing. Back then it was like the 1190 and the Super Street, or not Super Street, the Sportsman with great fondness because you got to race a lot. You got to spend a lot of time racing, whereas you go faster and faster. It is a natural progression, but I kind of look back thinking I need a slower truck, so I can just go do some laps and have 25 competitors rather than 3. The faster you go, there's less people to race.
Yeah, same thing for me. Like it was really eye opening when I drove the Junker. My truck was broken. I figured that we brought it for burnout competition, so I raced it in 670, and I have never competed in that class. I've only ever competed in the 590 class. And so I thought like, oh, this is like almost a full second slower. It's going to be slow and it's going to be boring. And so far from the truth. Like it was so much fun. Like just having, like when you're on 590 and I jumped right in, you're like, you jump in way higher than I should have. And you're worrying about everything breaking and doing everything right. When in 670, everything was just happening a little bit slower. I felt way more confident in doing it. And it just went A to B every single time. All I had to worry about was actually driving and shifting. And you just, RPMs come up, you shift, RPMs come up, you shift. And now you're looking at the competitor like, do I get on the brakes? Do I not? Like, what's the strategy? I had so much fun doing the Junker. And that was like really eye-opening that you shouldn't, don't get in don't try to jump in at 590 or even 670 because like, oh, 770 sounds slow. Like you can do that with 700 horse. Start where you're comfortable, get the racing down, get your vehicle sorted, and then start jumping to the higher classes. Like it's so much fun.
Yeah, we say it all the time, but it really is true. Learn the sport where it's easy. That's in Sportsman. It's a truck you drive every day. You're very comfortable in that truck. You know what it's going to do. You know how it's going to react. Go learn how to drag race in that truck. You don't need anything special. Just show up, make sure it's clean, make sure it's in good mechanical working order, and have a great time. And if you do love it and want to start working your way up, then you can. You start going your way up to 770, 670, 590. It just depends how far you want to go. And if you're horsepower nuts like we are, you're going to go pretty far. You're going to get up there because it's the most addictive and intense thing I do. It's hard. I do love motorsports. I like all kinds of things. And I race motocross. And a lot of people think that's crazy. And yeah, on the gate, it's pretty intense. But nothing comes close to the Cummins car. It's fast. And I can't even imagine going faster. Like the faster you go, it's so intense. It's so like addictive. While I do love motocross racing, is not the same level of intensity that drag racing is, which sounds crazy because you can kill yourself off a jump or something, but it's just not. It's just different. And so anyway, I am very excited for the HRDA. I'm glad it's under new ownership, but nothing against the old owners. Great. Randy did a great job. It's launched and going. He passed the torch, and now, lucky for us, somebody was interested, and this guy really wants to grow this organization. In 2026, there's still not a lot of races because they're already kind of planned, but I'm hoping they're well attended. And then 2027, they're going to really try to get a lot more events. So you don't have to travel so far to get to one. Hopefully there's more events closer to people so they can try this thing out. He's saying there's all kinds of stuff. I don't know what's going to happen. But
they're going to have some dyno league stuff they're starting up, and then they're having burnout contests at them. So, these are supposed to be really fun events. And I think anybody that is even on the fence at all about joining diesel motorsports in general and performance, you've got to come out, and it's way more fun to compete than to just spectate. Like just spectate, great. It's fun. We love spectators, but man, actually driving down the track is a lot of fun, and it does not take anything special. They're not professionals out there.
Nope.
And if we're at the event and you need help, ask us. We're more than happy if you're there to be like, hey, what should I do here? How could I,
We've helped many people look at their time slips and say, if I was you, here's what I put for my dial-in time. Because usually later in the day, it goes a little bit slower. So if you did 8.0 and 8.1, I'm putting it 8.1 or something like that. Like we'll kind of say, okay, if this is my truck, here's what I put on my dial. Good luck. Go try. You know what I mean? And come back and we'll see what happens. And lots of competitors will help you out with that. So it's not this like society we're going to people are jerks. No, we want to help you. Other people want to help you. We want the sport to grow. We want somewhere to go play. And so anyway, I hope you guys come play with us. Really, I do.
Mhm.
And yeah, is there anything else you need to hit for this?
Yeah, I mean, go over the 670 build like you were saying.
Oh
little bit.
yeah, you know that.
A little bit. So we've had a couple of people say, hey, if I wanted to get started in diesel and I wanted to specifically target a fun class, this 670 class is a great first target. It's not crazy expensive. It's not crazy dirt cheap either.
I would say if you haven't raced before, you should not start in 670. I think you should start in a slower class where there's more rounds, you can get more practice in. But if say you've done that,
670 has a lot of classes, and you can triple class if you want. You can do all the way back to sportsman now.
You can, but still 670 is things are happening pretty darn quick. I feel like you should have more experience than just starting in 670. But let's just say you do have some experience. You're like, okay, I'm not going to ruin the daily. I want to build a vehicle to do 670. What do you do?
And so a lot of guys, it starts with, what vehicle do you have? If you have a Volkswagen TDI, there's not a ton of info on building a manual transmission car into 670. You need to pick the right vehicle. So you pretty much are going to want either to build a custom car, which is way expensive. So most of you guys listening to this aren't going to go build a custom muscle car with a diesel engine in it or a custom race car. You're basically going to pick a Ford, Chevy, or Dodge four-wheel drive vehicle, most of you. A couple of you be two-wheel drives. But it seems like what's most common in the industry is a common rail or a third gen Dodge, basically a 03, 04, 05, 06, 07. Those are the most popular years. So that's where I'd say let's start with that platform right there. That's what you're gonna look for. Preferably an 06 or an 07 has a little bit more tunability on the ECM. You'll be able to do staging limiters and stuff better. So really, you should be looking for an 06 or 07. You can swap electronics to older models if you're there. So if you find a really clean 03, don't be scared, but you're going to start with an 06 or 07. But really, to be this class, you need a solid like 900 horsepower to the wheel to run this in a four-wheel drive truck. So you got to start with a 900 horsepower. That means you are building the engine if you want this to be reliable, and the transmission. Engine wise,
you don't need a lot above. I mean, maybe
basically you can bolt on you can do this with factory bottom end at that level. Not quite as reliable, but it'll work. So we're talking, you need to basically put on a head with common rail. You're either going to need some good 625 head studs and a freshly machined head, or you're going to go right to a fire ring ported head. Just depends on, you probably want valve springs, so you're going to turn an RPM anyway. I feel like at that level, I would recommend just go right into buying a nice head that's fire ringed, has high press valve seats, good valve springs, has threaded freeze plugs. You're not going to blow stuff from the valve cover. Just set yourself up for success on the cylinder head. You don't have to, but I mean, you've helped a couple of your friends do that. They started with a stock head, right? Did they just drill and tap the freeze plugs, or what did they do to save?
No, they're just risking it for the biscuit.
So you don't have to do that. So let's just start like the ultra budget then.
So if you
need good fasteners then.
Yep. I mean, I think you want you don't need main bolts, but I would be pulling the pan doing rod bolts and main bolts, or rod bolts and main studs. You're gonna do push rods, valve springs, billet freeze plugs all the way around, because you don't want to blow out those freeze plugs. Those are the first ones to go. You're gonna need some kind of a CP3, probably a 12 mil or something like that.
You're saying good 625 or custom age op torque head stud.
Something like that. Some injectors. You're trying to make.
How big an injector are we talking?
I mean, you can do it with, like I said, 100s, 150s. I mean, somewhere in that range is probably where I'd start. And then you need a turbo, the setup that'll do 900 horse.
So a lot of guys are doing an aftermarket T4 Steed manifold. They're probably putting like a 472 on their minimum.
You're doing 670 class. Yeah, you need something in the 770 millimeter range should do it. And then something to keep in mind is, I mean, it takes horsepower to go fast, but it takes more if you're heavy. So if you're trying to operate, if you got unlimited budget, you can throw all the biggest and best parts in there, and you can get 670 you can go 670s at 7,000 pounds, no problem. If you're on a budget, an angle grinder is the cheaper option. Like, the more you can cut out your bed, chop off extra brackets, gut your cab. I mean, I don't want to say back half, but you can chop the back a little bit off your frame. You don't need a hitch anymore. So like just kind of really look at everything with a fine tooth comb and be like, how can I either like add this transmission cooler in a light and fashion, or what can I do to lighten up what I have? You can get your truck down to 5,000 or I mean even 6,000 pounds factory. A third gen's probably 6,800. If you can get down to 6,000 pounds, you're gonna take a lot less horsepower to run the number, but also you're going to be much more reliable running that number. And so if you're on a budget, it's definitely the way to go.
Yeah, a lot easier on parts. Weight's a big deal.
And that's where you have to be real with what you're doing with the truck. Cause if you never plan on sled pulling the truck, yeah, chop the back of the frame off, like right behind the leaf perches. That way, you save that 20, 30 pounds of frame rail right there. Get rid of the hitch, get rid of, put a lightweight front bumper on there. You can go through and you can drop 500 pounds pretty easily.
Part of, I see a lot of aborted race projects is they try to go too intense, chopping everything, and they get buried in it for 2 years and they lose interest and go away. I would say whatever you do, if you want 100% success rate, you need to make it happen in 6 months or less so that you don't have a chance of like losing and getting distracted on it. But I see a lot of half finished race projects going to the track, and it doesn't need to be fully lightened to start with, but try to set yourself up for success. You do need that roll cage in to run 670 or roll bar. So you've got to at least get far enough of gutting the interior to put a cage and stuff in there. And like Myers said, every bit of weight savings can help you, but it's kind of fun to go to an event and then go, man, I wonder what I can do to pick up more speed or lose some more weight, add some reliability. And it's fun to just slowly pick at it. And it like gives you, that was part of the fun I found with the junker was I didn't try to build 670 right away. I was just trying to go as fast as I could. And every time I'd go out, I'd go a little faster, a little bit better. And that's where I found the most joy was, hey, you did this work, and the reward is you go to the track, and if it goes faster, you're like, I'm a hero. If it goes slower, you're like, oh, I suck.
But it is true. Like going faster. I mean, gosh, you and I spent how many hours talking about stuff back in the day, even before Power Driven Diesel. Will and I would talk about all kinds of different ideas we had and things we should try. We just made friends. Like, Power Driven Diesel exists because we were friends from the track. I mean, good people are the track. That's how Will and I met, and yeah, it's pretty fun. So, yeah, I think the third gen Conrail is very obvious. 12 valve can obviously the junker is there and very easily.
Junker, I think, is the cheapest way you could do it if you're willing to do a lot of the work yourself. The reason I went with the third gen is a lot of people aren't willing to put in the time to learn how to tune the pump and some of that stuff, to where with a third gen, you can just buy a tune from somebody that knows what they're doing, and you can buy a turbo and a cylinder head and injectors from us, and all of a sudden you have a guaranteed 900 horsepower setup, and it's going to work. You could buy all the right parts for 12 valve and it's not tuned right, or your fuel pressure, something's screwed up and you don't know about it, and you could be at 700 horsepower forever. It's just maybe your timing was wrong, maybe your pump wasn't built right from whoever. It's so easy to struggle at 670 with if you put nitrous, anything will go fast with nitrous. So But
all the platforms can do it. There's 670 Ford Power Strokes, probably the 6.0 platform.
There was a 7.3 on nitrous that was running 590. So, I mean, I know you can get a 7.3 to run 670 for sure.
Duramaxes.
6 liters are actually quite potent.
Yeah.
They're a little harder at 670. You're definitely going to need some nitrous because they're a little bit heavy trucks, unless you do some weight. But 770 is very easy on a 6.0.
Oh, yeah.
They're probably one of the cheapest trucks to build for a 770 truck.
Yeah, because the transmission probably...
Trans will hold it.
Maybe a torque converter and an input shaft, which are really easy to do at your house. You can do that in the garage if you know how to pull a trans. Duramaxes, I mean, there's a lot of support for them.
770. I saw quite a few guys back in the day struggle at 670 with a Duramax to get the power. They kind of struggled when they got... because you kind of need to get into like a built crank and stuff when you go over 700. And it seems like a lot of guys on a Duramax, they're not quite willing to put crank and rods and all that in there. Yeah. And so 770s are a lot more attainable for a Duramax. 670, they're more than capable of that, but you got to spend some bucks in the motor to get there, where you can do a factory Cummins with some head studs in it will run 670 for a long time. I'm trying to think what other platforms. The VE, I don't know if you got it light enough and put nitrous in there. You probably run 670 with a first gen Cummins.
Yeah, you
P-pump swap it. VP44, I haven't seen many running 670, but 770. A lot of VPs will run 770. I'm trying to think what other platforms you got. These newer Power Strokes. Some of those are running pretty dang fast with just a little bit of nitrous, L5Ps. Um, Weight is your enemy, though. That's really what's determined. Any platform could be run.
Yeah.
A 2.8 Duramax in a little Chevy pickup
Colorado or
truck,
something.
Colorado, will run 670. I mean, there's a couple of race ones that are fast, but they only weigh 4,000 pounds or 3,500 pounds, and
Yeah.
that little Duramax doesn't care at that weight. So
Yeah. Long story short is if you have a running truck that's in good shape and you want to race, you should. Like just bring it out to the track, get your feet wet. Is it something you want to pursue to go higher? A lot of people do. A lot of people are like us here. They do that first race and they get the bug. And it bites you hard, and it's a super fun one to have. I mean, you just start building trucks, talking to friends, getting parts, working deals. It's all very much fun. So anyway, I'm excited about 2025. 2026 now. I'll be saying that for about 3 months wrong. 2026. I'm very excited for the future, 27 and beyond. We start offering more and more venues, more races.
Oh yeah.
But we need to support 2026. It's a new ownership, new year. I hope to see you guys at the races. I hope these events are well attended and they have reason to put out way more events. It's like anything else. If you don't support it, it's going to die. We know that. So if you have interest in it, we hope you do. Come out, support it, come play with us, have a good time. And hopefully Diesel Motorsports can grow huge like it was on its way to do before the big crash of '08, and get more and more people involved and just have a good time. So anyway, guys, I think that's going to wrap this episode. I hope to see the track. I hope you enjoy this episode. As always, like this episode, subscribe, share it with your buddies. Leave us a comment. Are we doing a good job? Is there something we're missing? Should we talk about something? Let us know. We want to give you the stuff you want to talk about, what stuff you want to hear about. And yeah, we'll see you next time on Power Driven Podcast.